Red, White, and Blue by Casey McQuiston. In the rarefied air of the White House, Alex Claremont-Diaz, the handsome, brilliant, and ferociously ambitious first son of the United States, wears his public persona like a well-tailored suit. He's one-third of the White House trio, a media-coined term for himself, his older sister June, and their best friend Nora Holleran, the vice president's granddaughter. June, a thoughtful, aspiring journalist, is his anchor, and Nora, a whip-smart data genius, is his intellectual match and former flame. Together, they are the marketable, millennial face of President Ellen Claremont's administration. Alex, driven by a deep-seated need to prove himself, has his life mapped out. Graduate from Georgetown, become the youngest congressman in modern history, and build a legacy. The only snag in his meticulously crafted image is his long-standing, public-facing rivalry with Prince Henry of Wales, the youngest grandson of the Queen of England. To Alex, Henry is everything he is not, a stuffy, placid, and infuriatingly perfect royal figurehead, a living embodiment of the establishment. Their simmering animosity boils over spectacularly at the royal wedding of Prince Philip, Henry's older brother. Fueled by champagne and irritation, Alex confronts Henry near the towering $75,000 wedding cake. A tense exchange escalates when Alex, trying to get the last word, grabs Henry's arm. The resulting stumble sends both young men crashing into the cake table, toppling the multi-tiered confection in a sugary avalanche of buttercream and international disgrace. The moment is captured by a photographer's flash, and the next morning, Cakegate is a global headline, threatening to spark a diplomatic crisis between the United States and the United Kingdom. Summoned to the Oval Office, Alex is confronted by his mother, President Claremont, and her formidable Deputy Chief of Staff, Zara Bankston. To mitigate the disaster and save face before the upcoming re-election campaign, a damage control plan is enacted. Alex and Henry are to stage a fake, highly public friendship. Alex is flown to London, armed with a fact sheet on Henry's life, and forced to play the part of a close confidant. The charade begins with a stilted photo op at the royal stables, where Henry, looking effortlessly princely on a white horse, and Alex exchange teeth-clenched pleasantries for the cameras. Alex signs a ridiculously extensive NDA and is shuttled around by Henry's impossibly cool equerry, Sean Srivastava. During a joint appearance at a children's cancer ward, a false security threat forces them to hide together in a cramped supply closet. Trapped in the dark, their animosity finally cracks. Alex admits his resentment stems from their first meeting at the Rio Olympics, where a dismissive Henry had him brushed aside. Henry, in a moment of vulnerability, apologizes, explaining that it was shortly after his father's death from cancer, a time when he was a prick to everyone. He opens up about his grief, and for the first time, Alex sees a flicker of the real person beneath the polished royal facade. The truce is sealed over a debate about Star Wars, and before Alex leaves, he gives Henry his phone number, insisting they need a direct line if their ruse is to be convincing. What starts as a necessity soon morphs into something genuine. Through texts sent across the Atlantic at all hours, they discover a shared wit, a mutual pressure from their families, and an unexpected camaraderie. Alex learns about Henry's true passions, literature, history, and a secret life as a compassionate, feeling person, a stark contrast to his public image. Henry, in turn, becomes a sounding board for Alex's political anxieties and academic stress. Their secret friendship culminates at the White House trio's annual New Year's Eve party. Henry attends with his best friend, the flamboyant philanthropist Pez Okonjo. Throughout the night, a charged energy crackles between Alex and Henry. After the countdown, where Alex shares a traditional, platonic kiss with Nora, he finds Henry has retreated to the quiet of the snow-covered Kennedy Garden. Alex follows him out, and in the cold moonlight, Henry, emboldened by champagne and a year of simmering tension, grabs Alex's face and kisses him. The kiss is shocking and revelatory, short-circuiting Alex's brain. Just as quickly, a panicked Henry pulls away and flees, leaving Alex stunned and confused under the linden trees. The kiss sends Alex into a spiral of self-examination. He, who had always assumed he was straight, is forced to confront years of compartmentalized feelings and experiences. After a heart-to-heart with Nora, who nonchalantly confirms Henry is obviously gay and that Alex has been harboring a massive crush for years, Alex starts to accept that he is, in fact, bisexual. Henry, meanwhile, has gone completely silent, terrified of the implications of what he's done. Their standoff breaks when Henry attends a state dinner at the White House. Alex, simmering with a month of unanswered texts and sexual confusion, corners him in the Red Room and kisses him against a portrait of Alexander Hamilton. The raw, angry passion is undeniable. Alex gives him an ultimatum: come to his room later that night or be ghosted in return. Henry shows up, and what follows is a night of explosive, long-overdue intimacy. They talk, they learn each other's bodies, and for the first time, they are honest about their mutual attraction. Alex comes out to Henry, and Henry, in turn, confesses he is very, very gay. They fall into a secret, globe-spanning affair, meeting in hotels in Paris, New York, and Berlin, their public-facing friendship providing the perfect cover. Their relationship deepens through clandestine encounters and increasingly vulnerable emails, where they share their deepest fears, family histories, and growing feelings for one another. Alex learns about the death of Henry's father, the actor Arthur Fox, and his sister Bia's past struggle with addiction. Henry learns about the pressures on Alex as the biracial son of the first female president and his complicated relationship with his own family. The delicate balance is shattered when Alex invites Henry to his family's lake house in Texas for a weekend. Surrounded by the warmth of Alex's family, his accepting father, Senator Oscar Diaz, his sister June, and Nora, the fantasy of a real future together feels intoxicatingly possible. One night, swimming in the lake under the stars, Alex is on the verge of telling Henry he loves him. Terrified of the implications of such a confession, Henry panics and shuts down. He leaves the next morning without a word, cutting off all contact. Devastated and furious, Alex flies to London and storms Kensington Palace in the pouring rain. In a raw, tearful confrontation, they both confess they are in love with each other. Henry admits his fear stems not from a lack of love, but from the impossibility of his position as a prince who can never publicly be with a man. He feels trapped by his duty to the crown and his family's legacy. Alex, refusing to accept this, argues they can make their own history. Their fight culminates in another passionate night, but this time it is sealed with a new understanding. When Alex leaves, Henry gives him his signet ring, a symbol of his commitment. Their secret, however, is a ticking time bomb. A British tabloid, fed information from a source with access to the White House servers, publishes their private emails and photos. The scandal is immediate and immense. They are outed to the world in the most brutal way, jeopardizing President Claremont's re-election campaign just weeks before the vote. The leak traces back to the campaign of her political rival, Senator Jeffrey Richards, who used it as a ruthless political weapon. However, a counter-leak from an anonymous source on Richards' campaign revealed to be Rafael Luna, a senator and Alex's mentor who had infiltrated the campaign to expose Richards' corruption, proves Richards orchestrated the entire affair. Faced with an unprecedented crisis, Alex's family rallies around him. President Claremont, choosing her son over political expediency, gives him her full support. In a televised address to the nation from the White House, with Henry standing steadfastly by his side, Alex confirms their relationship.
He speaks of love, identity, and his hope for an America that will not be swayed by prejudice, urging voters to focus on the issues, not his personal life. The public response is overwhelmingly positive. Crowds gather outside the White House and Buckingham Palace with signs of support, rainbow flags waving alongside American and British ones. Inside the palace, a quiet revolution takes place. Henry, backed by his mother, Princess Catherine, and his sister Bee, confronts his grandmother, the Queen. He refuses to hide or lie, declaring his love for Alex and his intention to live his life honestly. Faced with a changing world, a supportive public, and a threat from her own daughter to expose her outdated views to Parliament, the Queen reluctantly concedes. On election night, the race is nail-bitingly close, coming down to Alex's home estate of Texas. As the returns come in, he gives a rousing speech, galvanizing the crowd. In a stunning, historic upset, Texas turns blue, securing President Claremont's re-election. Amid the confetti and celebrations, Henry reveals he has bought a brownstone in Brooklyn, a promise of a future together. The story ends with Alex and Henry, after the victory, cycling through the quiet streets of Austin. They arrive at Alex's childhood home, the place where his journey began. Using the key he has worn around his neck for years, Alex Claremont-Diaz, the first son who fell in love with a prince, unlocks the door and steps inside, ready to build a new history of his own.